everyone, welcome to Aftermath TV. The regular crew here with you, Caroline, Jimmy, Anthony, and Nug. And guys, a lot happened this past week, so let's get right into it, starting with Monday Night's Raw. We saw a fatal five-way match that would determine who the sixth man in the men's elimination chamber would be. So let's see how that ended.
Now Finn Balor back in the mix. Seth Rollins as well.
No, they're not.
This is not going to be good for anybody involved. Balor cover, Rollins cover, shoulders down. Wait a minute. Who the hell won?
Well, they both think they've won.
They both did win.
I pinned Bray Wyatt in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. I should be going to the Elimination Chamber.
Hey, look, with all due respect, all right? I had Bray pinned. I had his shoulders down. I got the cover. 1, 2, 3. I should be going to Chamber. That last opening should be mine. Listen to me. It doesn't matter what you think.
Okay, guys,
I should be in that Chamber. It's my WrestleMania moment, you understand?
Okay, stop. You both proved your point. You both deserve to be in the Elimination Chamber. That's right. There's going to be 7 men in the Elimination Chamber match. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Oh, it's true. There will be a 7-man match, and I want to know what you guys think about that. For or against?
I'm more against it because, being an old school guy, I'm more of a traditionalist. I like the idea of it being 6 guys. It's like the Money in the Bank briefcase match. The more people you add to it, the more diluted it gets. I think what should have happened is Kurt should have made a match between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor on next week's Raw, and the winner of that match would be the 6th participant.
Yeah, the whole banter at the end there was kind of funny, like, you both pinned him. Anyway, when they said 7, I thought, oh my God, they got to recreate a whole new structure for this thing. And I thought that was good. That's expensive, But they're going to start with 3. It's already a chaotic match. Mm-hmm. It's out of control. Now guys can team up on other guys and guys coming in from everywhere. It's not going to make it that much more chaotic because it already is chaotic. It's still, I don't think it really adds anything to it.
Let's put everybody in it. Let's have 30 men in the cage. Let's have 30 men in the chamber and only 4 guys locked up. Why add another guy to it? It really drives me crazy. But also, let's not overlook how much of a dud is Bray Wyatt. He won last year's chamber, and this year couldn't even get in it with 2 chances and was pinned by 2 guys last night.
Well, there's the thing. He was pinned by 2 guys.
Oh, yeah, you can't.
He's got an out. He's got an out.
Yeah. Apollo Crews, though.
He looked great.
Hey, great showing.
Two weeks in a row. I've enjoyed him.
2 weeks in a row, he's been looking good.
Do you guys have a favorite Elimination Chamber match?
Oh.
I think the first one, because no one knew what it was going to be. Yeah. It was this terrifying steel structure. No one understood the concept of the pods, what was going to happen. And when guys started slamming each other on the chain floor outside the ring, that's when it got really scary and real for not just the fans, but for the superstars.
Yeah. From a personal standpoint, for me, it was 2008 Elimination Chamber match because I happened to be the official. But it was The Undertaker, it was Batista, it was Finlay, it was MVP. And the structure then was, the rules to the match were different. It had evolved over the years, but you could pin people on the steel grate at that time. And I remember specifically The Undertaker taking Finlay and choke slamming him over the top rope from inside the ring, outside onto the steel grate, and I winced. It was so bad.
Yeah, it's definitely the most unforgiving structure in all of WWE. Of course, I had the privilege and pleasure to be in one. And I remember is that the little bone in your ankle.
Yep.
I went over and hit that on the outside, and I killed. No. But the audience, it's a little bit of Royal Rumble-esque with the way people are coming in. Who's it going to be? And of course, it's almost like a Hell in a Cell Royal Rumble combination. Yeah. It's a really fun match. I remember moments, guys jumping off the top of the pod, climbing, hanging,
reaching into a pod to pull somebody out.
Yes. Going through the glass at a couple occasions.
There's been really cool moments, and the audience gets just fired up for it.
The bulletproof glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doug?
The very first one is terrifying for me. I still remember the Big Show going into the top of a pod to pull out Daniel Bryan. I can't imagine that happening this year if. Because he's the last one in, Elias just strums his guitar the whole match. Someone's going to go through that just to shut him up.
You know what I'd like to see? Going back to Animal House, remember when the guy was playing the guitar on the stairs and John Belushi came down and smashed the guitar? I want to see Braun do that to the guitar.
Do you guys remember the pyro? Was that the one with you were talking about 2008, the pyro mishap?
I
think that was next year. The guy burned Undertaker?
No, that was the next year.
Oh, man. The whole time in the pod, he's looking over like, you're lucky I'm in this pod.
Big two-part question for you guys. Who deserves a shot at Brock Lesnar, and who would give him the best fight?
Who deserves a shot?
Well, I think who would give him the best fight right now is Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman had a great match against him and has been in a couple matches with Brock Lesnar, but I think a one-on-one fight at Mania would be a good fight. Now, who deserves it? Who in that match has been putting in the work and should be rewarded with, getting a victory, getting past all those other guys? I really think that The Miz should go to that match and have a match against Brock Lesnar. Do I think The Miz is going to be successful against Brock Lesnar? No, but I think he deserves a shot at the title.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of unfinished business with Brock. He put the beat down on a lot of guys, and they've never gotten retribution. I think Cena has never really gotten back for the beating he did. Randy, cut open Randy. He beat down Roman Reigns. And I would like to see Samoa Joe again. I think that can. I think Samoa Joe can do it.
I like the Braun thing, but to me, Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar is like two steamrollers fighting over the same piece of pavement.
Right.
It's just going to be like, as JR would say, bowling shoe ugly. For me, what I'd like to see actually is something a little different, because if you think back to WrestleMania 31, when Roman Reigns had his shot against Brock Lesnar, it was interrupted by Seth Rollins, who cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase then. I'd like to see maybe a three-way at WrestleMania with those three, and maybe Roman getting his little retribution.
Bit of a rematch.
The circle of life, Simba.
Right.
We're going back.
Switching gears a little, pay-per-views are going back to mixed branded events. Do you guys like seeing superstars from Raw and SmackDown together, or should they stay separate?
I like them separate on the television show. I don't mind the co-branded pay-per-views. I think it's great because for several reasons. Obviously, less repetition of matches and so forth. But what I'm hopeful is that this would lead to one world champion, not a universal champion and not a WWE champion, one unified champion who actually can defend his title against people from both shows.
It used to be like that back forever ago, when even during the brand split. I do like I like the idea of a co-branded pay-per-view, only because I feel the guys on SmackDown don't get enough love, and I think this would allow them, if you only tune into Raw and you don't know who any of the guys on SmackDown are, here's your chance. You're going to see them on a co-branded show.
Yeah, I look at it a little bit differently, actually, because there's a lot of guys. For example, look at Jinder now. Back in the day, Jinder was a mid-card guy. Wouldn't have made a mixed pay-per-view. So when you have a pay-per-view that's specific to a brand, you get to see the main guys that you would have seen in a mixed brand, and then the guys that are fighting and struggling to get there. And as soon as it's a mixed brand, those first, let's say, 4 matches on both brands, you're not going to see them. So we need those guys to develop and try and dethrone those top guys.
But it also gives them incentive to be those guys that make it onto that mixed branded pay-per-view, because, it's all about getting to that next level.
So is the competition a good thing?
I think competition is a good thing.
Competition's always a good thing.
But it's also exposure is a good thing, too.
If you're the CEO of the WWE, I feel like I'm asking all the hard-hitting questions here tonight. Getting real.
I love it.
What would you do to take the WWE to the next level?
Ooh. See, everybody's got their own vision, and Vince McMahon has his vision as a CEO of WWE right now. What I would do is I would slowly evolve to the next, feel things out. You have to try certain things.
Right.
In other words, trial and error is what you need to do, and that's how you find out what's the next step.
I like this next step they're already taking with these matches on Facebook Live for the Mixed Match Challenge. I think that hits an audience that maybe doesn't tune in to watch wrestling. A lot of the cable cutters that just necessarily watch it on their computers. Here's a thing they can watch on Facebook. Everybody's got Facebook. It's a totally different thing. You're getting personalities out of people you've never seen before, and I think that kind of exposure on a different platform is the kind of thing they need to do going forward.
It's funny because they're going to have unprecedented interaction where where, you know, moments before a match, the audience can actually do something. That's very cool. One thing I would do is I would ban close fist punches to the head. It used to be like that.
Yeah.
And I would restore it to that. And it's great for everything. Storytelling, it's safe.
Right.
It's just more believable and acceptable. And also, with all the current studies with CTE, I think that'd be a step in the right direction to preserve the longevity of the superstars.
Well, Nug, I totally agree with you with the Facebook Watch. I think it's a great idea. You know, they're on television, they're on digitally. I think it's great. We'll see where the WWE goes from here, but for now, it's time for a break. When we're back, we talk about a pretty big decision that Asuka is going to have to make.
Did you ever have...
What will Asuka do? Guys, we saw Stephanie McMahon ask the superstar to take her time making a decision to see what title she wants to go for. I feel like that's got to be a little stressful. That's got to be a lot of pressure on Asuka. What do you think she should do?
It's interesting because, you know, you have Alexa Bliss, but before the decision, she's got Nia Jax to, you know, on deck at Elimination Chamber. Let her get by that first, and if she gets by Nia Jax, then let her make the decision. I think a battle between her and Charlotte Flair would be
I would love a match between Asuka and Charlotte Flair, but she won the Women's Royal Rumble and can choose either champion. Now on Raw, she's already beat Alexa Bliss once. She's beat pretty much every woman on the roster. She hasn't beat all the people on the SmackDown roster, but there's a new member of the roster coming. Why wouldn't Asuka want to take on Ronda Rousey?
Yeah. Do we know where Ronda's going? No, right?
She's signing her Raw contract at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. Originally, back in the day, you know, Raw was the premier brand. I don't think that's the case anymore. If you're looking at, like, for example, I think Alexa's an easier matchup for her. I think she'll destroy Alexa. But Charlotte, if you want to be the best, you want to, you know, cement yourself as the best, I think you got to beat Charlotte Flair.
Well, like her dad used to say, to be the
to be the best, you've got to beat the best.
There you go.
Be the man, you got to beat the woman in this case.
Yes, exactly.
So Charlotte Flair's in SmackDown. So do you think SmackDown would benefit more from having Asuka go there, or do you think Raw would benefit more from having Asuka go there?
That's interesting as well, because if she does go to SmackDown, whatever brand gets her is going to benefit the most. But, you know, I think SmackDown right now needs a little more star power, and especially with Ronda Rousey coming to Raw. SmackDown needs
yeah,
a
whichever brand. If one of the brands gets both of them, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't kind of separate them, because Asuka and Ronda is like my dream match.
I think Asuka and Charlotte Flair would really benefit the SmackDown roster, but I also think that whoever wins that match can get cashed in on by Carmella, and we'll have a new champ.
That would be interesting too. But the Ronda Charlotte match is like the dream match that should be. Not too soon.
Oh, Ronda Charlotte, yeah. Wait, Ronda Asuka is great. I think Asuka's going to be great for Ronda to transition in.
Yes.
Because there seems to be that MMA style with both of them.
And also the
Charlotte's
two women.
Pro wrestling. Yeah.
We got the 2 women, 4 horsemen.
Going off this dream scenario, when does Asuka's undefeated streak end? And who does it end with? Predictions.
It still hasn't ended from her time in NXT to now.
Will there be a time?
Well, I want to see Nia Jax get into the match at WrestleMania. I don't necessarily see Asuka losing by pinfall. I can see some shenanigans, which is a horrible way for a streak to end, but maybe there's some way Nia can still get into that match and Asuka can preserve her streak.
The best part is the fact that there is a streak. And now when that streak comes to an end, it's going to be a huge moment for the person that does it. And finally they're paying the appropriate amount of attention to a streak. I think Nia Jax as well. I hope it's not now. I mean, later, down the road, a few years from now. Let's make it the streak, like, you know, longer.
Yeah, well, every good streak comes to an end eventually.
Absolutely.
Well, while we're on the topic of female powerhouses, there's been a new inductee into the 2018 WWE Hall of Fame. Let's see who it is.
I'd like to bring down Ivory.
Ivory? Whoa!
And look at Mark Henry.
Wait a minute. Uh-oh. We may have ourselves a little confrontation here. They're going to have trouble getting those. Oh, there we go.
And here we go now. Ivory and
Jimmy, do something. Do something.
I know better than that. I know better than to get between two women fighting. No,
Smart
not
man.
happening.
Look at that confidence. Look at that strut. Her name is Lisa Moretti, a.k.a. Ivory. She made her debut on February 8th, 1999. Guys, what made this female superstar so special?
For me, what made her special was she is one of the original champions of Glow, which they showed clips of in the video package for the Hall of Fame last night. And she's the only female wrestler to have a championship in Glow and a 3-time champion in WWE. She's one of the only women to do that. Ivory was a fabulous antagonist. All she did was run her mouth all the time, and it was even better when she was in Right to Censor. Ivory is one of my all-time favorite female wrestlers. I couldn't be happier.
It's safe to say Nug is a fan.
I love it.
Yeah. And the thing with Ivory is that a lot of people don't understand is she was very passionate about being a professional wrestler. At the time, you know, sports entertainer, and she was actually quite good at it. You know, one of the trailblazing women.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some obviously some transitions throughout the time of women in their roles. You know, classic, old school, fabulous moolah wrestlers. Then they became a little bit of eye candy, and now, I mean, she's strong and she's capable, and she began that transition to strong, powerful, beautiful entertainers.
Well, congratulations to Ivory. We'll see who's next to come upon the 2018 Hall of Fame, famers of WWE. And guys, right now it's time for a break. When we get back, we'll be talking about Shinsuke Nakamura and a book on the horizon. Yep.
I like it.
King of Strong Style is the name of Shinsuke Nakamura's autobiography. Right now, there's 2 volumes, all in Japanese, but this summer it will be released in English. Will you guys be reading it?
Absolutely. I love reading autobiographies. There's a lot of good ones out there, including mine, if you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Out there. Yeah, cheap plug. Yes, thank you, Mick Foley and DX. I figured out how to do that really quick. But it's interesting for those who don't know the Shinsuke Nakamura story to get a backstory on where he came from, how he came up in the wrestling business in Japan and became the King of Strong Style.
It'd be good if it was on audible.com and it was him reading it. You know what? When I was on the road, I read so much more because you had some time to kill. And now I barely have time to find reading. But cardio, I can read on the bike.
I like all the autobiographies. I've read a lot of wrestler autobiographies, and I'm interested in this one because he has had a long career not in WWE. So I'd like to read all about his time in other places.
What have been the best autobiographies that you guys have read?
Best ones?
Yeah.
Yours. Besides mine, I got to go with Bret Hart because Bret Hart has this uncanny ability to recall everything.
He's
got the most vivid recollection of everything from conversations to events that happened to minute little details that everybody forgets. He remembers everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick a favorite. Probably because I never read any.
I've really enjoyed. I liked all of Chris Jericho's books.
Yes.
I really enjoyed William Regal's autobiography. And also Goldust's. Goldust's autobiography is right up there with one of the best.
What current superstar? I'm just throwing out the questions here today. What current superstar would you guys like to read an autobiography on right now? Jinder Mahal for me.
Ginger?
Oh,
Yeah, because,
that would be interesting.
You know what? I just really respect how disciplined he is with eating and working out and his whole entire career there. I think reading about it and actually getting that deep dive of a personal opinion and outlook would be interesting.
For me, maybe Brock Lesnar, because we don't know a lot about Brock Lesnar, the person. We see the guy that's in the ring. We see the guy that's been in the octagon. But we don't know a lot about the man Brock Lesnar. I'd like to get a nice little inside look into
Yeah, I
him.
heard that too.
Yeah, I'm interested in people that had this whole full, complete life before wrestling, whether it was guys in the NFL, the CFL, or whatever, guys that just had regular jobs, and transitioned over. I find that to be very interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if Brock invited me hunting.
I'd like a 2-volume set. One for The Undertaker, packaged with one for Kane.
Yeah.
I think otherwise you read half, flip it over, and then you can read the other half, like an old school kid
You just
book.
swayed my vote.
Nug just took things to the next level.
I guess I didn't vote.
Guys, time for Ask Aftermath. And the question is, what is your least favorite and your favorite gimmick match ever of all time?
Ooh. You know what? Favorite is harder. Least favorite, tons to pick from.
Yeah. I think one of my least favorites, and I think you refed one of these, was the Lion's Den match. Ken Shamrock
yes,
had a
I
couple
did.
of those because it was a weird, I'll say it, a contraption on the side of the rest of the, you had to look somewhere else. It wasn't in the middle. It was and you had to walk around the top, Jimmy.
Yeah.
What a weird thing that was. Any of the gravy or pudding matches I don't like. One of my favorites, though, is Buried Alive with The Undertaker and Mankind.
Cool.
A Buried Alive match is great. It's a little different than a casket match. You got to literally drag them over to a grave and bury them. I think it was great.
For me, maybe my favorite. I kind of like the Hell in a Cell. I like the structure with the lid, with the cage being kind of sealed in. Well, they break out every once in a while, but I like the concept of that. As far as my least favorite ones, there was I don't recall the exact name of it, but there was a WCW match where it was like I think a tiered cage.
Oh, the Tower of Doom.
Not the Triple Tower of Doom. This was the other one where they kind of got Abdullah the Butcher down in an electric chair and they threw the switch and there was like sparks everywhere. And I just, it's like, please.
Well,
My favorite, I'll just say ones that I was in. I did a blindfold match and I loved it.
I remember that.
Blindfold match is fantastic.
It was actually one of my, when you come through Gorilla and you get a standing ovation from everybody back there, I got one for that match. So that was really special for me. The one I did not like was the tuxedo match. That was shameful.
Let me put it this way. Any match that Tony Chimmel can be in is not a good match. He's been in a tuxedo match with Howard Finkel, so yeah.
all right, you guys
Stay
ready
down,
for my
Chimmel.
favorite? Hog pen.
Ah, yes.
Wait,
There's
did I do that?
something about a pig being in the WWE. All animals. British Bulldog, loved it. Pig, loved it. Superstars wrestling in pig stuff, win.
Really quick here, the hog pen match. They brought the pigs in, and what happened was when the guy that delivered the pigs, I'm going to try to tell this really quick. Owen Hart happened to be at the loading dock area, and the guy came out, where do we put these pigs? And Owen said, follow me, we'll take it over here. So he led the guy and the pigs over, right into Vince's office. Vince was at the meeting at the time, comes out of the meeting, he walked into his office, he sees all these pigs rolling around, immediately turns around and yells, Owen!
Perfect.
That's
Knew
amazing.
exactly who it was right away.
That makes me so happy. Can we just get some pigs coming into the Aftermath set? That would just make my day.
Hey, we could send him into Greg's office. That would be cool.
My least favorite, quickly, you loved Hell in a Cell. There was one in particular that I didn't between The Undertaker and Big Boss Man. I think it was just hyped up, two high caliber superstars going at it. I thought it was a boring match. We saw The Undertaker hang Boss Man. I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was flat. I did not love it.
I left the dog kennel match out just for obvious reasons.
Oh my goodness, with those vicious dogs on the outside that were like
Asleep?
Pet
rub my
me,
belly.
pet me. These questions are great, everyone. We want to hear more. We get amazing insight from Jimmy, so keep asking them. Use the hashtag AskAftermath. That's all that we have. Enjoy the next episode of SmackDown Live, and we'll see you all next week.
It's right now.